Okay, so we're going to start the Excel project 1A. So the first thing you have to do is make sure that you save it with the _2 as the file extension name, or you're not going to get it submitted onto SAM that easily because the expected file name is your name _2. Alright, and then we start with the project steps. So step 1 says, Josh Bartell is the Senior Director of the Pennsylvania Field Office for New Era Medical, a global company that manufactures medical equipment. He has created a worksheet for summarizing the revenue and expenses for the first 3 quarters of the year. He asks for your help in determining what the Pennsylvania office needs to do to meet its targeted profit goals in the 4th quarter. Go to the budget summary worksheet, cut the worksheet title from cell I1 and paste it into cell A1 to display the title in its expected location. So I1 right here. So we're going to cut. So right click and cut, which will delete it from there and paste it to wherever you need it to go. And this is A1. So we're going to scroll over A1 and paste it here. So you can do that by clicking here and paste, or you can right click and choose paste. Or like I just did, you can do a keyboard shortcut, which is Control V as in Victor, and that will paste for you. Control X is a keyboard shortcut for cut, and Control C is a keyboard shortcut for copy. Okay, so number 2, in cell E2, add the text number of. So E2, number of. Step 3, enter quarter 2 in cell C4. And quarter 3 in cell D4. Step 4, in cell G5. Oops. I have the screen split so that you can see the instructions as I'm going. You can, if you have your instructions on a separate page or printed, you don't have to have it small like this. You can actually open up your full Excel sheet so it looks a little bit better than seeing up this minimized toolbar up here. So step 4, enter a formula without a function. So without a function means without a word, so sum or average or max or min, and just use plus, minus, division, multiplication, those symbols. So enter a formula without a function that subtracts the target revenue. So for the cell to identify it as a formula, you're going to put in the equal sign. And we're subtracting the target revenue, cell F5, from E5. So E5 is a bigger one if we're subtracting F5 from E5. And enter. Step 5, Josh wants to calculate the gross margin for quarters 1 through 3 and the year to date. Provide this information as follows. A, in cell B7, enter a formula without a function that divides the gross profit for quarter 1 by the revenue in quarter 1. So we're going to go equal, so it recognizes it as a formula. And we're going to go B6 divided by B5, enter. And B says fill the range C7 to E7 with the formula from B7. So we're going to click here, and the fill handle is this little plus sign right down here. So you click and you drag it over, and then you fill handled over. So the same formula then gets copied over, CC6 divided by C5 up here, and the same formula keeps getting copied over. Okay, so step 6. Josh needs to sum the sales for each Pennsylvania region for the year to date. Provide this information as follows. So 6A in cell E10. Enter a formula that uses the sum function to total the regional sales data for the Northeast region, the range B10 to D10, to calculate the year-to-date sales. So this is going to be equal so that we know it's a formula, and we're going to type in sum because that's the function. Now you could double click here, and all that does is create an open bracket, or you could type in the open bracket if you want. And they're giving you the range that you need to use the sum function for. So they're looking for the sum of every value from B10 to D10. All right, and to finish off a function, you need to end your bracket. Okay, and then click enter. B, use the fill handle to fill the range E11 to E13 with the formula from E10. So we're going to click on E10 here. Again, use our formula handle, but instead of going horizontally, we're going to go vertically down. Perfect. Step 7, in cell F10, enter the value 925000 to provide the targeted annual sales amount for the Northeast region. Step 8, Josh wants to determine how much revenue each region needs to generate in quarter 4 to reach its target for the year. Enter this information as follows. So 8A in cell G10, enter a formula without a function, so no words, that subtracts the target sales for the Northeast region, cell F10, from its year-to-date regional sales, cell E10. So we are going to go equal, so it recognizes it as a formula. No words, no functions, so we're just going to go, it wants to subtract F10 from E10, so E10 is the bigger number. That goes first, F10. And you don't need to close a bracket here because we didn't use a function or a word, okay? So just click enter. B, copy the formula in cell G10 and paste it in the ranges G11 to G14. So you can copy by copying and then just highlighting G11 to G14 and pasting, or you can use the fill handle. Both work fine. They're just showing you that you can copy and paste this way, but I would much rather just use a fill handle. You can do it that way too if you'd like. Step 9. Josh is interested in how much revenue each of the 12 salespeople generates on average in each quarter and for the year to date. Find this information as follows. So A, edit cell B15 to include a formula without a function that divides the total regional sales in quarter 1, cell B14, by the number of salespeople, cell G2. Don't change the reference to cell G2, that is already there. Okay, so as you can see up here, it's got a reference to cell G2 already, which is called an absolute cell reference. So you noticed when I copied over up here and I did horizontally, each one, they don't have any dollar signs in front of them, so each one of them changed respective to the column that they were in, D65, and I copied over and it went E65 because this is a column. When you have the dollar symbols, that's called an absolute cell reference, and when I copy that over here, that is not going to change. It's always going to reference that one cell. So the question asks us to divide cell B14 by G2, so I'm going to go B14 divided by G2. It says don't change the cell reference to G2, so I'm going to leave it like that. See how G2 is just right there? So now B asks us to fill the range over to E15 with the same formula. So we're going to use our fill handle and we're going to copy it over, and you will watch what happens next. So I copied it over, and C14, the first one that has a relative cell reference, changed relative to the column that it was pasted in. So that one turned to D and that one turned to E. However, the second one, as you'll see, stayed the same. It will always reference the same cell as long as it has the dollar signs in front of the number and the letter here, called an absolute cell reference. Step 10, Josh also needs to calculate the operating margin, which is the ratio of operating profit or loss to revenue and indicates how much the office makes after paying for expenses. Calculate the operating margin as follows. In cell B20, enter a formula without a function that divides the operating profit or loss in quarter 1 by the revenue from quarter 1, B5. So you're going to do it equal, so it recognizes it's a formula. No function, so no words. So you're going to go B19 divided by B5, enter. And B says to use the fill handle to copy it over to E. So we're going to use our fill handle again over to E. Oopsies. There. All right, and then step 11 says, Josh wants to include a visualization of the total year-to-date sales separated by region. Insert a chart to provide this visualization as follows. So A, create a 2D pie chart based on the non-adjacent ranges. So you learned how to do this in Word. So we're going to go A9 to A13. So we've got that one highlighted. Now non-adjacent means you need to click and hold on your control button. So now that I have that highlighted, I'm going to click on my control button and hold it. And I'm going to go to E, the next range it says there's E9 to E13, so E9 to E13. Now I'm going to let go of my control button and I have both of them selected. Now I'm going to go up to Insert and I'm going to go to the pie charts, and the very first one there is the 2D pie chart, and it's based off of that range of information. Okay, so you'll see that there, northeast, southeast, central, west. You'll see it on the bottom there. So you know you got the right information in there. B says to enter the total year-to-date sales by region. So, oh, go away with you. Okay, so total year-to-date sales by region as the chart title, and C, resize and reposition the chart so its upper left corner is in cell I4 and the bottom is in L18. So I'm going to move it over here. Come on. Oh, for goodness sake. The glory of using a split screen. Okay, so upper left is in I4 and lower right is near L18. Okay, and the style, so D says apply style 3. So here's your paintbrush, that's your style, and the third one is style 3. Okay. And 12, hide the grid lines for the budget summary worksheet to make it easier to read. So you go up to View, and I'm going to maximize that. So you'll see in the show right here, they've got formula bar heading. So if I take away the formula bar, you don't see the formula bar anymore. But they are asking you to delete the grid lines, so these guys disappear. Okay, so the grid lines are what make it easier to adjust this guy to put them in the right place. So when you delete it, it makes it harder. So make sure you don't do step 12 before step 11. All right, so just make sure that you have it _2 up here before you submit, and always save as you're going through. All right, great job, and we'll see you on the second project.